Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Hallyujuku, your East Asian pop culture podcast to end all East Asian pop culture podcasts. No, not really. We're just here, just hanging out, talk about East Asian pop culture. A couple of guys from the East Coast of the United States. I'm Petey Rave. Here with me is my tag team partner, my partner in crime, my right hand man, my left hand side, Brandon Cooper, aka King Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
I'm doing well.
We're here. We're here to talk about music, talk about East Asian pop culture. We've been away for a little bit. It happens. We've had.
We had a lot of things come up.
Yeah. I had TwitchCon, like I also had work.
Had some travel.
Yeah. So it's like, but we're back.
To the woods for a while to find myself. Shit happens, man.
Yeah.
Growing a beard.
Yeah. The beard life. You gotta make sure.
Yeah, man. I'm going for the beard life. So this has nothing to do with K-pop. But like, it's a hard life because all the shit I read is just like literally just wash it and don't touch it. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yep, I'll wash it and don't touch it. You're gonna look like a wolf man some days, and some days it'll look good. But other than that, wash it and don't touch it.
Just roll the dice, man. You gotta wash that shit, otherwise it starts to get itchy. It's just an unpleasant thing. But as long as you wash it, it'll treat you right. But yeah. Aside from our facial hair journeys, we're also going to talk about East Asian pop culture, music, and such. We also talk about, as we do every episode. We talk about what's new, what's caught our attention since we last gathered. One big release that you're going to start us off with. It's a big release. We talked about. We had our own little like special. Hallyujuku talks about this group in anticipation of this release. What's going on? What's that new release?
So that new release is SuperM, our new super group, coming out of SM, with their song "Jopping." So this group literally is kind of your Power Rangers of the mostly because I have on a Power Rangers t-shirt. Is your brought together super group from SM to kind of try to compete with Monster X and the monster that is BTS, in a sense. And I think this is kind of a good first showing from them.
Yeah.
I think I also kind of had my doubts with this song at first, but I've listened to it a couple times, and I think it is a very, very good like first song from them. It kind of sets it off strong. I kind of almost thought I wanted an introduction track at first, but then it was like, well, it's kind of one of those things where you already know who they all are. It's a kind of an Avengers thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, and it's definitely the effort is to, even if you don't know who they are, they're going to sell it to you like you should know who they are. Like, you already know who those people are. You do. Like, no, I kind of don't. No, you already know. You already know. It's okay. They're already a big deal. And I think this track is good. I will say, like, my big thing is, like, I'm not in love with it, but I think it's good. There are parts of I wish I had more. Like, I wish I had more of a chorus. But there's definitely a lot good. Like, I wish I had that chorus at all. All it has is pre-chorus. Like, and then like that moment you're waiting for like either like a chorus or like maybe even an instrumental drop where they just like say "we chop in" over and over again. It's just kind of like, oh, here's the next verse. Like, but it's good.
Yeah. Like it's definitely meant to kind of be a like kind of big stadium kind of track.
Yeah.
It's definitely a concert track, if anything, and I think that's a good thing to do as kind of your first showing, is to kind of put out like a concert track. because you want it to kind of live and die on the performance, right? So that's why the faces are shown very well, the dancing is shown very well in this video, because you want them to show that they perform well, because you want people to come out and see them, and then you kind of want to then live on the music, which I think SM can do relatively well. So I think this has put me in a good sense of excitement for this group.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think this song, it's good. There's a lot of good things about it, but it's not great. I don't know if it has sold me on the group, but the thing is, I'm coming in this, even without this track, I am optimistic overall about the group, at least a little bit. So this didn't really stop that. But I'll have other thoughts about the group's path and their plans when we talk about the first headline later on the B block. But I think this song, like I said, there's things that I wish it had more of, but I think overall it's good. I think definitely the thing that I feel is that it's definitely not as bad as people were making it out to be based off of the leaks. When the leaks happened and people were talking about the leaks, you'd swear this was the hottest mess. It's I'm I get that it's not, and like I said, it's not great, and I get that there's parts of it where you maybe are lacking, but it's definitely not the way people were making it. People were wanting to believe it was, I think, before they even heard the leak. Honestly, not to make it conspiratorial. I think we're in this
era where we always talk about the can do no wrong, right? And BTS is at the level where they can do no wrong musically, right? But everyone else can, right? So if you're not on par to the outer fandom of K-pop, the people who aren't going to give you a chance per se, right? If you aren't on par with what they think you should sound like, which right now they think you should sound like BTS, if you're not on par with that, then you're doing wrong. And I think that's kind of the thing, right? Whereas right now, Monster X and BTS have a very similar sound. So that I think that's why Monster X is getting close for a lot of people and starting to come up into a lot of people's mythos as another boy group to pay attention to. But I think anybody else who's not on that same sound wave is nah, it's garbage, it's trash. Get it out of here.
At least for some people, and I think for others, it's also just when something isn't good, the wanted the eagerness to just trash anything. just the eagerness to trash bad music. Let's makes them take anything that could be bad music and want them all right, here's my chance to make my jokes. Here's my chance to pull out my bad music reaction gifs and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of that, but overall it's a good song. Not great, but it makes me optimistic. I think that there's better songs on the mini. I think overall, tonally, and composition wise, but it's a good introduction, and it's going to be perfect for their tours, which we're going to be talking about later on. But moving on. Okay.
Moving on from there, so ZICO has put out a couple of tracks on kind of his comeback, as we like to say here in the K-pop realm. I'm featuring two of them right now. So one of them is a song called "Human," which is kind of more R&B-ish. I want to say
more ballad,
not more ballady. Yeah, I like it. I think it's really good. I kind of like the sound of it, and it kind of always makes me forget that ZICO can sing really well. So it kind of has this kind of emotional ring to it. As does the video. The video has a very high visual concept. And and ZICO also has a thing for goats all of a sudden. In all these videos, there's a goat in them somewhere. If you go check out all three of them. The other one I'll probably do next week. But I wanted to feature these two because I really liked the sound of these two a lot. I liked kind of the contrast of all three songs as well. They're very different from each other. And because like you said with Human, it's but yeah, I don't know, kind of
yeah.
I mean, I don't know really much else to say for it. Then I think you kind of have to check it out and listen to it.
Yeah, I think it's fine. not to be negative, but it's fine. It's pleasant. It has a like a tone that I think is perfect for Korean radio, especially now. I think like the SuperM, I'm not in love with it, but I like it. It's a nice song, and I think it's perfect for like establishing his solo career. Kind of putting something super radio friendly, like perfect for like what the tone of sound that Korea wants. Which is I can't hate on that. I think strategically it works well for him. Yeah.
So the other song I'm featuring this week is more of the rap side of ZICO, and it's called Extreme, which you kind of clued me in has some deeper meaning.
There's some issues, and we'll talk about it in a moment. But there's some issues with ZICO in general right now, but which probably some K-pop fans, if there's anybody listening, as soon as we said ZICO, they're getting their comment fingers ready. Probably already started their comments tonight without even listening to this far.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But this one I also I like statement pieces. I kind of always like to give people their space to say their thing. And when you're in music, it's you have to kind of speak through your music,
Yeah. And like it's a very statement rap song, very pointed in a sense. Like the big thing about it, the big thing is like he's commentating on certain things, and specifically like he points out the big controversy that comes out of that he's been embroiled in. He points out, he says a line where it says like I'd never seen no video like that, and which I reinterpreted it as I've never watched any of those kind of videos, which is more of a reference to the videos on his longtime buddy Jung Jun Young, who was at the controversy, who was under center of one of the centers of the big burning Molca controversy, which we haven't been touching with a 10-foot pole just because of how monumental that thing is. But one of the big things is that he's been a longtime friend of Jung Jun Young, presumably up until recently, up until this controversy started. But he has made comments to that phone, and they've had conversations where they openly discuss him having a golden phone and like saying things like, oh, his Pokemon collection, as if like and like him wanting to gleefully browse through his phone while he go over to his house. And then later on, he is saying things like, oh, he'll lie on my bed, look at it, saying, today I'll start from the letter A. And he has claimed, and there's enough plausible deniability to keep it so that he can't get, pegged for anything legally speaking. But he's claimed that the only thing he looked at was contacts. She's like, I don't know if anybody believes that. Like, so most people right now are presuming fairly so that he was aware of the kind of videos and stuff that Jung Jun Young was trading in. And since he was aware and did nothing, that makes him complicit. Yeah, which is kind of a fair accusation. Obviously, it's still still worth. It's still a tough thing. Obviously, I'm not in a position to convict him, but just those circumstances doesn't make you feel good. And like for him to kind of like even call it, the fact that he kind of raised it up does bring pull the bullseye back on him and kind of reignites the controversy. So
yeah,
so it's a tough thing, and I definitely understand the raw emotion that's being kind of thrown around out of this, because like he was your boy and you were aware. What does that make you? Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. That being said, I've got a couple of cool songs. Before we get into a couple of cool songs. One of them, to kind of just start off with, is a really cool band. I think we've talked about the lead singer on the show Soyun before, but we haven't talked about the band. The band called Sesonyeon. It is a really cool like indie band. They have really cool sound. They came out with a new song called Go Back, and the vibe is really dope. And the song is really cool. Like the composition of the song is really well done, and like the general vibe of the track is just really nice. It's such a kind of like a cool, chill indie track. It's pretty. It has a nice hook to it. The video is visually interesting as well, which I really enjoyed, and like their style is just really cool. What did you think, Kaz?
I mean, it's kind of a slow, chill track. I don't know. I liked it. I just trying to think how to put it. Like, it didn't really like super do it for me, but I kind of liked the feel of it.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think like it's definitely a particular like mood and feel, and it works. And I think it's a really cool sound. And I'm looking forward to hopefully if this is a new track, but hopefully they come out with like a new album, which would be cool. Because just from like I've listened to Soyun's album, which is dope, and I listened to their other track, and those were had like really cool sound as well. So hopefully they'll come out with something like a full release, which would be really cool. But that is Sesonyeon. Go check it out. They're a dope group, a dope track. All right. So next up, I'm gonna get into my girl group bullshit. We have a new track from CLC. The girls have been kind of they've been kind of having a nice little like year or so with like back-to-back solid tracks, having good comebacks, and they've kind of almost like Cube is actually paying attention to them, and they've been getting a nice like variety of sound. And this is a song called Devil, and it came out a little while ago, but we've been we've been away for a little bit. In fact, I think it came out a month ago. But it's a really good track. So the people pointed out that this song has a really nice mix of like their new sensibilities and their like older sensibilities, like more like their Pepe and Like It style, but mixing those two in a really nice way. It's like that I think works really well. It's a fun, catchy song. It's cute, but it's not cutesy. It's like it has an attitude to it. They've adopted the Red Velvet music video idea of let's just have the members try to murder each other, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Classic music video idea. But you know what? It's not a bad gimmick to adopt. But yeah, overall, it's just a really solid song. And I've really been enjoying this era from CLC, and I think they've grown into a really cool group. What did you think?
They're not just a carbon copy of 4 Minute anymore.
No.
But yeah, no, I kind of agree. I like that they've found their own sound. I did really enjoy this song. I thought it was fun. And like you said, the video kind of gave me Red Velvet vibes, which I'm still all about Red Velvet.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm all about Red Velvet. They're right up there. But yeah, this is great. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, so supposedly this is a digital single. Supposedly they've got an album, like a full album in the works. I think for like next year, which is like which is I'm looking forward to, for sure. So more stuff from CLC. I'm glad. All right. Now we get to my big track. So SuperM was a big track, but this is a big track for me. Honestly, like it came out. So it came out a couple of weeks after the other track. So it came out a little while ago, and it just has been in my playlist constantly. Like I've just been jamming to the song constantly ever since it came out. Dreamcatcher, who I love. Dreamcatcher is back with a special collaboration album with the game King's Raid. So they came out with a collaboration album with King's Raid, and came out with like a title track for the game.
Okay, because I was gonna be like, this sounds like an anime, like not a theme, but like a middle song in an anime.
Yeah, it's like
so much.
And that's the vibe most of these like mobile games are going for anyway. So it's like, yeah, it works great for that. Dreamcatcher with this track called Deja Vu. And I've just been enjoying it. Like it starts off really, really nice build up, then explodes into the chorus, and then it comes back down, and it goes back up with the build up, and then it comes back down really nicely, and it has just a nice like feel and vibe to it. It's so much fun to listen to. It's really well made, really well written. It's like it's performed really fantastically. The choreography, if anybody's been watching like the live performances, that they've been really fantastic with the choreography. The visual elements of the video is fantastic. They all look great. I've just been in love with this song. Like it's just fantastic. Like you said, it's all the reasons why it makes a great like anime song. It's just because like it's just fits a mood and a style so well. What did you think?
No, it just kind of hit me because I was like, what anime is this in? Like, because it just reminded me so hard of like kind of a very anime ballady style song, and I really just enjoyed it. And I think it's like you said, it's really well done. Its themes and its kind of build up and how it kind of flows is really well put together. So I give a lot of credit to their producers and how they put this track together. So
yeah.
Definitely a song worth checking out.
Also, definitely an album worth checking out. I already have mine. I pre-ordered that shit. And comes with a nice pictures, a nice booklet. Dreamcatcher. Yeah. Also, we're checking out. So the other really cool thing, because this was done in conjunction with the game, they actually did like a moving illustration music video, which is really dope to further along the anime theme feel. It's literally just moving comics. It's not an animation. It's more like how have you ever like, I think how they do a lot of like comic books in like their digital forms where they're like, it's the still frame, but like one of the layers like moves with almost like with the action. Yeah. So
it's like more camera movement than a lot of animation movement. There's like very little frames and actual animation. There's some, but it's very like you said, it's kind of an animated comic book.
Yeah, but I think it's really cool, and it worked. It's a really nice video. It's fun, and they also randomly it's in the show notes, but they also released a Japanese version. Just like, oh yeah, there's also a Japanese version. It's like, okay, that's out of nowhere.
Like there's no way there cannot be. It has to be.
Exactly. So Dreamcatcher, more amazing stuff from Dreamcatcher. I love them. I'm looking forward to more from them. So, but that brings us to the end of what's new. We get transition over to our headlines. So catch you on the flip side. I forgot to switch to the headline title. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the headline segment here on Hallyujuku, where we talk about some topical topics in the world of East Asian pop culture, things that are going on, things that are happening. All right, let's get down to it. Let's bring it back to SuperM. So SuperM has been doing a lot of things. I would say the SuperM have been planning. SM have been planning a lot of things for SuperM. They had their release. They had a whole live stream where they performed their songs live at Capitol Records and all spoken English and the best that they could. Mark obviously being the actually really fantastic at it, but everybody else doing a great job with their prepared statements, but doing a great job. I will say that during the live stream, they had the weird moment where all right, now it's Joppin'. And then they played the music video. And then people were in the chat and people were watching like, are we just going to watch the music video? Are we just going to watch the music video? Like, are they not going to perform it live? And then we did, because at first when they were playing the intro, I figured, oh, this is a cool, like, include the intro from the music video while you lead into the live performance and blah blah blah, nice. But they just played the music video and then they finished it and they had a little intro and then they cut to the stage and had a whole like dramatic intro and then they performed the same song. It's like, here's Jopping again. It's like odd. But that being said, SuperM announces North American concert tour. This is off of Soon P. With SuperM's debut coming up this week, or having happened, the new SM Entertainment Group has announced their first North American tour. The group will be kicking off their We Are the Future live tour on November 11th at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, and the first leg of their tour will include a stop at the famous Madison Square Garden in New York City. It includes Fort Worth, Dickies Arena, Chicago, Illinois, Atlanta, Georgia Arena, Infinite Energy Arena, Eagleback Arena in Washington, D.C., Madison Square Garden, Viejas Arena at San Diego, California, The Forum, SAP Center in San Jose, California, Showware Center in Seattle, Washington, Pepsi Live at Rogers Arena, Vancouver, BC. They're doing an arena tour. They've released a mini.
Yeah.
This is definitely a play. And it could be a very smart play, but it's definitely interesting, and I can definitely see the skepticism that some might have looking at this, especially considering they have 5 songs generously, and they're going on an arena tour. This is the Blackpink paradox. They're going on an arena tour with not enough music to play a full set.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing though about doing that, right? Is they could Taemin has some solo songs.
Yeah.
You have a couple of the boys from NCT. You could do a couple of NCT songs with them in between the mix of the 5 songs. And I think don't Kai and Baekhyun have a song together?
I think we may have even talked about it, but let me search the notes.
Yeah. So if you think about it in that context, there are more songs they can perform. But as a group, yes, they only have 5 songs for an arena tour. And if you're listening to this now, tickets are already on sale. They went on sale October 5th at 10 a.m. The tickets do come with so if you purchase a ticket, you are gifted as part of that purchase the mini album, which came out on the 4th of October.
Which is kind of standard nowadays, where you get the album when you go to the concert tour. It's what helps people chart on. It's what helps people sell albums to chart.
Yeah.
So but it's interesting. So they're definitely not selling out Madison Square Garden, at least not realistically. But I did see a lot of different opinions online and talking about it and not just opinions but what was it, speculation. And I think and I wish I had the comment up here, but it was somewhere online, I think on Reddit, where they were talking about, well, it's they're obviously not going to fill Madison Square Garden, but they're probably going to try to mostly fill the lower bowl of Madison Square Garden and have a nice show at all these arenas, maybe just at the lower bowl, not sell all the seats, and then media play that they debuted with an arena tour. It's again, it's the just already act like you should know that they're already a big deal, and just do all the media play that you got to sell the big time. In wrestling terms, it's like back in the day when $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase would always have to travel first class and in big limos because he had to sell the gimmick that he was the $1 Million Man. You had to convince people, live the gimmick, that they have to live the fact that they're already a big deal. So I get that. But it's I don't know. There's a part of me that understands there's some skepticism with their ambition. What I kind of wanted was a fun super group to put out some cool songs and then do some radio play in the U.S.
Yeah, I think that will come. I think the ambition for them is in the sense that we talked about with the video, right? We kind of, I think as a collective, expected kind of an intro track, but we got an arena track, right? Which also shows ambition, but I think it's on the sense that SM is trying to play 2 steps ahead.
Yeah,
they're giving us a group with members that we already know, right? And it is meant.
We already know.
Yeah, but it is meant to feed into what their name is, right? It's SuperM. It is the super group of SM. It is the talented of the talented from SM. But I think it's kind of this thing where we've seen this formula and it just kind of doesn't work because it tends to put a bad taste in most people's mouth on what it is that you want. And it's yes, for those of us that understand the kayfabe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
we know what it is, and we're still gonna find our enjoyment in it, and we know what you're trying to do, and it's cool. Because like you said, when you making the wrestling analogy, when the persona is already personified, but you have to then sell the audience, you kind of tend to do things like this, right? You are creating a group that's supposed to be bigger than life, so you can't start slow. You have to make them already seem bigger than life. So I understand it from that perspective, but then at the same time, I maybe trust SM a little more than I did YGE with how they did this, how they went about this the same way with Blackpink, because I think SM is going to continue to push forward with the kayfabe, as though we know with YGE they're gonna push the kayfabe and then they're gonna forget their own script.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? I feel like SM understands the steps that they're trying to take, and I do believe they can play 2 steps ahead.
Yeah, I think it's the concern, and the concern I always had, even, and I didn't voice it when we had our talks, but it mostly because I was mostly optimistic, but the concern is they keep saying Avengers of K-pop. They keep saying Avengers of K-pop, when the reality is BTS are the Avengers of K-pop. The concern is that they're trying to be Avengers of K-pop, which makes them the Justice League. Which, and as much as the two of us, like DC, the movies have not been on par with their ambition of wanting to replicate the MCU.
Right.
Like even when say,
because
they're trying to get to point E when they haven't gone from point A to point B to point C. They believe they've gone from point A to point B to point C because they're using these members from groups that have existed before, but they don't realize that they've put them into a whole new path, and they still, from that new path, have to start from the beginning. It's a concern, and I only voice the concern because I want these guys, these artists, these performers to succeed. And my concern is, okay, are you putting them on the path to succeed? Because I want them all to succeed. Because I've not necessarily been won over by NCT, but I would also still want them to all to succeed. I love EXO, I love SHINee, and I want them to do well. And are you doing what you need to do to put them on the path to do really well? And that's my concern. Are you putting them on a path that maybe stilts their success? That's my big concern. I don't know. What did you think? What do you think?
No, I mean, I kind of agree with that assessment, but I think as long as they try to stay just 2 steps ahead, you know what I mean? Like you can skip a step or 2, but don't make it more than 2 in that sense. Whereas your comparison with DC is they're trying to skip way too many steps ahead. Yeah. Whereas they should have stuck to the formula of only being 2 steps ahead. You know what I mean? Like slow, kind of pace your shit in a better, more manageable sense. Don't play catch up. You know what I mean? Like don't live in the factor that you feel like you're behind. Just do what you need to do, but do it at a quicker pace. And this is close to teetering that line where you're going for a thing, right? You're going for a group that can sell arenas. So you try to live in that kayfabe, but don't go so far ahead that you think you deserve to sell arenas.
Yeah. And that's where I think the idea of somebody pointing out that like I said, that somebody pointed out that they could probably just be selling, okay, they're at the arena, but they're selling the less, they kind of play that arena, maybe not try to sell the entire arena, just sell the lower bowls, things like that, just manage expectations, but using that just to simply media play that they sell arenas. So I can definitely see that. I hope for the best. Hope for the best.
All right. Let's talk about something stupid.
Yes. Speaking of SM, some stupid. SM Entertainment is now planning their own cryptocurrency. Just what everybody wanted. This is a month ago. It was kind of a month-old headline, but I had to talk about it because it's silly.
Because it's silly.
SME has refused to meet the demands of their shareholders. This is an ongoing thing of. Also, it comes out to there's a company that Isuman has that they've been funneling money to. Most likely it's all involving embezzling money and shit like that. So there's been a fight with the shareholders. But don't worry, they have a plan. And that plan is apparently starting their own cryptocurrency. SM Entertainment, one of Korea's top three pop talent agencies, is planning to build its own blockchain network with a native cryptocurrency as it battles a shareholder revolt and a falling stock price. Ju Sang-shik, director of the company's technology arm, CTAI Labs, made the announcement at the Upbit Developer Conference in Incheon on September 4th. God, no. All these things. According to a report from local media outlet IT Chosun, Ju said the company is aiming to develop a blockchain network that would allow fans to be more engaged with the entertainment ecosystem by investing in artists' work through cryptocurrencies. The director provided few specifics about the technology, but said the firm aims to make use of the concepts of both public and private blockchains and is currently talking to potential partners to build the network. The entertainment business, as it stands, utilizes inefficient settlement and payment systems, issues that blockchain could help address. I, as a person who has muted the word blockchain on Twitter, have no thoughts on this. I don't know. This is silly. It's like, who asked for this? Really?
It's one of those things where, like, anybody who thinks they're any company or any person who thinks they're in the realm of technologically advanced wants to kind of play in this realm in some way or another. They think it will mean more profits. They think it'll mean bigger margins and all these things. It's the new hot button topic, and people think it's going to be the fix all to any problem that people have. And it's not.
They think they want it to be the technological Robitussin. It's like, like you got some money flow problems. Post some blockchain on it. Post some blockchain on it. Just rub some blockchain on it. I think that's all there is to say.
Yeah. So you want to move on to drama?
Let's move on to the drama. So the big thing that's been happening that I haven't really been looking at too much, that I've kind of been staying away from, has been the general controversies surrounding Produce 101, PDX 101, and the kind of encompassing other shows like Idol School, where there's been controversies about, particularly PDX 101, over vote rigging, over vote like smudging, fudging the accounts and things like that. There's been readily available evidence of it, which is more points to MNet getting sloppy. I've been mostly staying away from it, mainly because of my stance of it's a reality show. Of course, it's rigged. It's a work. But it's been getting kind of momentum because the fandoms are perturbed. They're upset. So they're in full force because it's unfair. Me, of course, and as much as so. My mentality with that part of the controversy has been obviously that everything is a work. Obviously, it's all worked. As long as it's entertaining, people are gonna work things the way so that, especially when you're picking a group, you have your people that you probably already had in mind, and that helps. That also usually, if you have, say, people already signed the contracts or agreements already set up, predetermined, that way you can have those things set up with time so that you can build the narrative of the show around the outcome so that it all flows well, and then the logistics afterward makes sense. So all of that didn't bother me. Bothered a lot of people, but didn't bother me. But then it started to get into seriousness of the police finding evidence of these things, and there's been raids at entertainment agencies, which has gotten serious. And then that has followed up with former contestants kind of speaking out about their treatment at the shows, which is now, as we get into this stuff, is where I start to, okay, this is where I'm going to engage. Because now we're getting into, okay, yes, there's favoritism, but also let's talk about your treatment of people that you have on your TV show. So I'll start with this one. PDX 101 and Idol School contestants and companies speak out about preferential treatment. As reports emerged that police had found evidence of rigging and Produce X 101 and Idol School was under investigation, along with basically the rest of MNet survival shows. Contestants for these two shows spoke up about how, even aside from any voting controversy, things were unfair behind the scenes as well. NBC News interviewed a contestant who talked about the unequal airtime, which is kind of an open secret, and also the same so that some contestants get to know missions in advance, which is seemingly not an open secret. So this is the quote. A trainee who appeared on Produce X101 was interviewed anonymously. He described how from the start only some particular trainees were filmed and shown on air. Yeah, and also some trainees knew a mission song in advance and practiced for it. He stated that some of the contestants already knew a mission song because one of the trainees had shared the information. Quote, we asked him about it and he said that his dance teacher had told him, end quote, said the trainee. Additionally, they talked about to an agency head that said people discussed how things seemed predetermined. The head of an entertainment agency also said that it was an open practice for the production team to have already chosen who they liked, known as among viewers as PD pick. He said, quote, I heard people say things like, it seems like a few agency already knew the list, and it seems people were already aware of it. Furthermore, the contracts were revealed, basically showing that the show gets everything, the contestants don't get much. In its October 4th report, NBC stated that when a song was released, 1 million won is given to the agency. 1 million won, about $837, like $1,000 or so, is given to the agency of the contestants, with the contestant only get tens of thousands of won, about tens of dollars from that amount. In the cases where the songs do really well, CJENM receives the additional profits rather than sharing with the agency. NBC reports that according to the contracts between CJENM, the Produce X101 contestants, and their agencies, 100,000 won was given for each episode the contestant appeared in. That's about $80 for an episode of work. Some companies apparently didn't like the contracts to the extent that they would just ask to be eliminated. NBC reports, quote, some entertainment sources have said that there were many parts to it that were unfair. Some agency would ask instead for elimination at the last minute. And there's some nice back and forth where a nice little straw man argument. IATFB here over Nation Junkie points out that aside from the fact that less than 100 episodes for a show will result in a group that is eventually going to be making them millions upon millions is almost insulting. This line of thinking of saying like, well, it's not a charity, they're going to benefit from being on their show. The line of thinking will only hold up on assuming that things are fair. Then you could argue they're taking a risk for their shot at fame and multi-millions. But if it's not fair, and then they are just paid fodder to build hype for the show's ideal group, then they are just paid fodder to build hype for the show's ideal group and should be compensated as such. If they're there to be jobbers, that means they're doing a job, then they should be paid. Like, if they're there to be contestants, you could say that, okay, it's a risk reward thing. They could be huge stars. Even in that situation, I still think the pay is still bad. It's still silly and it's still insulting. But even if you could say like it was fair, it's like it's a risk reward thing. But like if you're gonna set them up to be jobbers, in wrestling, we're bringing back wrestling terminology, people. A jobber is the person that exists to be the loser, to to be enhancement talent for other people. They are there to do the job. That means they're there to lose to another wrestler to make them look better. Jobbers get paid, at least in the WWE, at least in the multi-million corporations. Like, you're in, especially enhancement talent. You get to show up, get to be there, and you get a nice paycheck. And it only seems fair, like, on that regard. So, but for them to not even get that compensation is silly. There's other stuff as far as for idol school where they go into the manipulation of that as well. Here, talking to a specific person that is already speaking out about those issues, Ehane, and how there was also controversy with idol school. How many, I think, almost all of the final members of the group Promise 9 were already signed to CJE&M, like, by the time the show started, which is something that's very familiar with, like, the issues of, like, I'm Pretty Rap Star in the past, which is which is interesting. Yeah,
it's kind of like one of those things where, like you said, right? We're used to this in America, and maybe we're missing something in a cultural sense, like, because it's like I don't know what it is that I'm missing here, and you know what I mean? Like I'm like kind of confused as to what it is that I'm missing as far as, like, how these things go, and what it is I might be, like, misunderstanding.
Yeah, I think a big part of the uproar is, I think, a little bit people and fans getting themselves too worked up over something that should just, they should just like understand that and accept that it's worked. Like, that's how reality TV works. But I think the main controversy that I think is worth looking into is, okay, but how are you treating these contestants? like the treatment is, like, the big thing for me, where I'm like, okay, this is the issue right here. Like, especially when you talk about where they go into the idol school issues, where they didn't really give them enough money to buy much of anything other than, like, bare essentials every month or so. They had them continue to wear those fucking, like, those shorts and t-shirt schoolgirl uniforms. There was, like, summer weather clothes, but well into, like, the winter time, because the show, like, lasted like 6 months. They like, how it really felt like very much like a prison rather than a school. And they had to, like, beg for scraps whenever they were allowed to go to regular school. Like, like, they had to beg for food and stuff like that. That's where I'm like, okay, this is where I want some action to be taken, because this is the important stuff. Like, you bring in on talent, you're bringing in on talent for your show that is going to ultimately make you a lot of money. You need that talent. You even if they're enhancement talent, you still gotta treat them like humans, at least.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's this weird thing where, like we've talked about the use of people in K-pop, right? And how they use people, kind of chew them up and kind of throw them out. I don't. It's like, it's hard, right? Because I don't know. And, like, I don't know, man. It's just hard to fathom what to do with it and what to do with that information. And sometimes it's hard to fathom how you should feel about it. I don't know, man. I'm so conflicted about a lot of things when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, with this stuff, I think the one thing, I mean, we can take solace in, but the one thing we can at least say to ourselves is, it's not just a K-pop thing. It's the entire pop music industry. So for all,
it's a lot of industries until they get caught.
Yeah, there's a lot of industries until they get caught, until people unionize. Really, it's a lot of industries. The whole, the fact that they chew them up, spit them out. They chew up the young talent, spit them out. The entire pop music industry, the entire media industry does that. They chew up young talent and spits it out. And I've been formulating my thesis on that. In that I think the only difference with the Western, just comparing the pop music industry, let's just zero in on those. The Western pop music industry and the East Asian pop music industry, they both take young talent and chew them up and spit them out in various ways. Your everything we talk about K-pop and in the West, talk about your Miley Cyruses and your Demi Lovato's and your Aaliyah's at the extreme situations. They use them. And once they're done with them, they let them go, or worse. Not to intimate certain things, maybe not to. Not that I'm intimating that R. Kelly had Aaliyah assassinated to cover up his crimes earlier than we could uncover them, but But I think the main difference I've been formulating is that the only difference is that where the East likes to stamp people down and make people less than, and it's like the collectivists, you need to earn our love and respect, otherwise we're just gonna neg you, and especially if you've seen that clip of that random staff member giving nondescript negative feedback to BTS after their concert, saying, you didn't try hard enough. I'm like, bitch, they're BTS, they've tried, their artists. It's the whole negging, pushing down. The West, they gas them up. They put them on a pedestal that they can only fall down from, and then until they're done, and then they just discard them. It's just it's two means to the same end. It's still milking whatever, taking a young talent and milking whatever money you can from them, based on your treatment on them. It's just a different means to an end based on different cultures, but ultimately it's just the end result and the overall feeling is the same. So it's I don't know. At least that's what I've been formulating in my head.
Yeah, I have nothing from there.
Yeah. Moving on. Speaking of reality shows that are going to screw contestants over, YG Entertainment's My Major is Hip Hop now show searches for new talents to screw over. This is an Asian Junkie article. YG Entertainment have reportedly wrapped filming on a hip-hop reality show called My Major is Hip Hop, finding talent at universities, but they don't have a way to broadcast it yet, so there's been a delay. A report by the outlet on October 2nd states that YG's new hip-hop program, My Major is Hip Hop, a literal title, has wrapped on filming. However, it's reported that the show has been postponed for the time being after discussions about scheduling with the broadcasting company. The show's broadcast date is therefore undecided. Sports Donga states, quote, according to sources, it's seen that considerable factors in the decision to postpone scheduling are the public criticism evoked by some artists from YG Entertainment recently, as well as owner risk. Risk or loss for a company based on the actions of its owner. Quote, My Major is Hip Hop is a show that aims to discover talented rappers through checking out hip hop clubs at famous universities. It's directed by Lee Sang-yoon, who was at the helm of the fourth season of Show Me the Money and was chief producer of Produce 101. People are always desperately enough people are always desperate enough to try for something like this, even for a brand going through turmoil like YG. However, as a mere observer, somebody trying to make ends meet, I can wonder aloud how anybody can have any confidence in YG after Mix 9, Treasure Box, and to extent even K-pop star. That's how you mentioned their own artists. Yeah, so they have this show, My Major is Hip Hop, and they can't get anybody to agree to show it on their television channel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is not really... I don't want to say it's not newsworthy, but it's not, like, surprising.
Yeah.
In any way. With the drama that they're going through, obviously, people are going to be wary of any projects that come out of YGE. Like, I don't want to say it's unnecessarily written. I understand why this article exists. I understand why people are talking about it, but at the same time, it's unnecessarily written, and I don't understand why people are talking about it because it's an obvious thing, right? YGE is a risk assessment, right? Anybody who looks at that is not just going to look at it from a monetary standpoint. They're going to look at it and then ask their lawyers, what is the ROI of this? You know what I mean? Like, what is our return on investment? What is, you know, not even just our ROI, what is our culpability in doing a project with YGE, right? You take it from anyone else's standpoint, and you have to do risk assessment at the current level of dealing with YGE and any of the drama that they're in or any of the drama that is going to come out from them. So it's just one of those things that, yes, people are going to be wary of them. Like, yes, this is a project that is probably doomed to fail due to their recent transgressions. Like,
yeah,
it's just one of those things.
This is one of those things. It's just fascinating. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I don't
like,
have hopes.
And they have to keep making projects because they have to try to like save face in some way, shape, or form. But they have definitely lost a step. So it's I don't know. It's an affront of what they really should be doing is sitting on their hands for a while, but they also can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
So it'll be fascinating. But I mean, good luck to all the people involved. Let's see. Moving on. I wanted to throw in something, just a nice little fun little. I didn't want to end on like just dunking on YG as much as fun as that is. I wanted to end on a little fun part because I wanted to further. This is a further like entry into our planning our Japan trip. Where Hallyujuku goes to Japan. Hallyujuku goes to Harajuku in full effect. So this is something that caught my eye because it's the top article on Sora News. But I thought it was cool. All you can drink deal lets you chug down unlimited alcohol at 138 Japan locations for a month. At just $37, you can easily get your money back with just 10 drinks. Sitting down at restaurants and socializing at pubs used to be a lot of fun in Japan, but the recent consumption tax hike has people wistfully examining their wallets, wondering if entertainment is really worth the price. But worry no more. Japanese food and drink website Favy is offering a fantastic deal right now to counter the sales tax hike, allowing local pub goers endless access to over 50 alcoholic beverages like beer, highball, lemon sour, and various cocktails for the low price of 4,000 yen a month. The exclusive voucher is eligible at Hokkaido, Amataro, Nijumaru, Sangendo, Irohani, Hoheto, and Isa Izakaya bars, which means unlimited drinking at 138 stores across Japan. Great of you for going.
Yeah, so this is kind of one of those things. It's like a Groupon deal that you can't turn down. And anybody who has ever been anywhere, this is one of the great challenges in life for anybody who's a drinker is you always have bars and pubs that kind of have this earn your money back challenge in a sense that is always dumb, right? It's always like, hey, you can
Panda.
get endless you can get endless mimosas for $20. And it's like,
yes,
cool.
Panda.
How do I make my money back? Yeah, this is a thing for those who are not familiar with kind of our extended DKG family that me, Panda, and Curly and Jury have done a few times.
Yes, just Robbie Young,
where we peruse the offer given to us.
Yes,
we do the math, and then we proceed to just drink and try to earn our money back.
Earn your money back. Get your return on investment. You know, how many drinks till I break even? I enjoy watching you play that game while I just have my reasonable drink. But I'm looking forward. We'd have to see if it's still available or if they renew, because this promotion only lasts until December 5th, with November 5th marking the final day of purchase. That's not to say that they may bring it back next year.
Yeah, it probably depends on its what's the word I'm looking for, on its like ROI, like if it's a big return on investment for them and it does really well. Because the thing is for this, the thing is for this is it's definitely ball in your favor kind of thing, where kind of almost no matter what you're up in a sense. So for them it is a sense of.
And that's the end of the episode. Unfortunately, my computer fucked up, and it cost me the end of the audio and all of the video for this episode. Instead of losing what is otherwise a really good episode of Hallyujuku, I decided to put it out this way. Plus, I did realize it till days later. My apologies. Be sure to check us out on the social medias. King Kaz is at King Kaz. Be sure to check him out on there. Check out DKG Whelp on dkgtv.com. Sports Odds and Ends at sportsoddsandsends.com. Be sure to check out their respective Patreons. You can look up Sports Odds and Ends on Patreon, and Drunk Kids Gaming and DKG Whelp on Patreon. I'll actually try to link them in the show notes as well. You can find me at PD Rave. You can find the show at Hallyujuku, Hallyujuku.com, kpoppodcast.com, rebelly.net, or rebelly.tv. As well. I've kind of took both of those. But yeah, rebelly.net for this and other shows, including Record Breakers, Rebelly TV on YouTube, and elsewhere. You can find us everywhere you find podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and the like. Give us a like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
I think you're crazy.
Fighting.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.